The coffin was already closed when my phone vibrated. I remember that detail because it felt wrong to look down at my hands while everyone else stared at polished wood and whispered prayers. The chapel smelled like lilies and furniture polish. My sister-in-law sat 2 rows ahead, perfectly still. My son hadn't cried once. People had commented on his strength. I hadn't. I thought it was another condolence message, another stay strong, another polite sentence that meant nothing. Instead, the screen showed a number I didn't recognize. I'm still alive. Do not react. Trust no one. For a moment, I thought grief had finally broken something inside me. My husband, Armand, had been declared dead 3 days earlier. A boating accident. A body recovered too late for viewing, they said. The official words were careful, distant, final. I had signed papers. I had answered questions. I had worn black. My hands went cold, but my face didn't move. I learned long ago how to keep my expression neutral when fear wanted to take control. The priest continued speaking. Someone coughed. A chair creaked. The message sat there, quiet and unreal. I did not reply. I did not look at anyone. I let the phone slip back into my bag and folded my hands like a widow should. That was the first decision that saved my life. After the funeral, the house filled with people who knew how to whisper, but not how to listen. They spoke around me, not to me. Cups clinked, plates were rearranged, someone opened a window without asking. I sat in my own living room and felt like a guest. My son, Ryan, avoided my eyes. He was 24, old enough to carry himself like an adult, young enough to still believe he knew better than me. When I tried to speak to him, he nodded politely and drifted away. My sister-in-law, Lena, took charge with a calm that felt rehearsed. She organized documents, contacted lawyers, spoke to insurance representatives. She told me not to worry. "You've been through enough," she said gently. "Let us handle this." I noticed the way she said, "us." That night, after everyone left, I locked myself in the bedroom and read the message again. Still alive, trust no one. I checked the number, no name, no profile picture, no follow-up. I didn't sleep. I listened to the house settle and thought about the last 6 months of my marriage, how Armand had become careful with his phone, how he'd stopped sharing financial details, how he'd once asked me, half joking, what I would do if he disappeared. I had laughed then. Now I sat in the dark and didn't laugh at all. The next week felt like being slowly erased. Decisions were made without me. Accounts were temporarily frozen. Documents went missing and then reappeared somewhere else. When I asked questions, I was met with patience so thick it felt insulting. "Grief can affect memory," Lena said. "You're exhausted. You don't need this stress." They never raised their voices. They never argued. They just corrected me. When I mentioned that Armand had talked about a separate savings account, they exchanged a look. "He must have been confused," Lena said. "There's no record of that." When I said I wanted to see the accident report, Ryan told me it would only reopen wounds. Slowly, carefully, they made me doubt myself. But facts don't disappear just because people agree to ignore them. That night, another message arrived. "They think you believe the story. Keep letting them." My heart pounded, but my hands stayed steady. I realized then that this wasn't about grief anymore. This was about control. I stopped asking questions out loud. Instead, I observed. I watched who made calls when they thought I wasn't listening. I noted dates, times, small inconsistencies. I remembered Armand's habits, how he filed receipts, how he hated loose ends. While Lena handled the official finances, I quietly requested archived bank statements from a smaller branch Armand once mentioned. It took time, patience, a calm voice. What I found wasn't dramatic. It was precise. Large transfers made weeks before the accident, Money moved into an account under a business name I didn't recognize, but one Lena had access to. A change in beneficiary forms. My name removed, Ryan's added. I didn't confront them. I waited. Another message came. They planned for you to be dependent, not dead, just invisible. That sentence hurt more than the idea of betrayal because it explained everything. The moment I stopped trusting how I felt and started trusting what I could prove, everything shifted. I contacted a lawyer without telling anyone. I showed her the records, the messages, the timeline. She didn't gasp, she didn't dramatize, she nodded. "This is enough to ask the right questions," she said. Days later, under legal pressure, a quiet truth surfaced. Armand had staged his disappearance after discovering financial manipulation within his own family. He hadn't trusted the system or them to protect him. The messages were his way of guiding me without exposing himself too soon. Lena's calm broke first. Ryan's silence followed. There were no screams, no confessions full of tears, just documents, statements, reality. I never saw Armand again. That was his choice. But I reclaimed my name, my agency, and my future. I set boundaries that didn't need explanation. I let the law speak where emotions once begged to be heard. When people asked how I survived, I said the truth. I paid attention when it was quiet. Grief didn't disappear, but it no longer defined me. Family can betray you without raising a hand. Manipulation doesn't always shout, it often whispers, and self-respect begins the moment you stop asking for permission to trust yourself. If you were in my place, would you have believed the message? If this story stayed with you, please like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps these stories be heard quietly, honestly, and without fear.